Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into something pretty disruptive, actually. It's being called the search apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
The idea, really, is that your business, even one that's, sitting pretty at number one on Google, might be about to become totally invisible.
Yeah, it sounds dramatic, I know. But the data we've looked at, well, it really makes you sit up and pay attention.
So our mission today in this deep dive is to really get clear on what's replacing traditional SEO. It's called Answer Engine Optimization, or AEO.
Exactly. We need to unpack that. Like, what is A.E.O? Why is it starting to take over from SEO? And crucially, what's the hard data telling us about this shift? Is it real?
And we're basing this on some pretty solid industry analyses, stuff that tracks performance across the big AI models.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google's AI overviews.
Right, driven by folks who really track this stuff closely. People like Perry Belcher, Kasim Aslam. They've been watching how these LLMs work and the impact they're having. It gives us sometimes an alarming view.
So fundamentally, what's the core difference, SEO versus AEO?
Well, think of it like this. SEO was always about getting seen on page one, right? Getting that click.
Mm-hmm. The goal was the click.
AEO is different. It's about structuring your content, your expertise, so that these AI engines recognize it, trust it, and actually cite you inside their answers.
So less like being listed on a map, more like being the actual landmark the map points to as the authority.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Exactly. You become the source, not just a potential destination.
Okay, so let's dig into the biggest immediate fear here. This idea of the death of the click. For, 2 decades, everything in digital marketing revolved around getting that click.
Absolutely. Climbing the ranks for the click.
But the analyses we reviewed paint a really startling picture. Get this, 65% of Google searches, they now end without anyone clicking on any website link.
65%. And it gets worse if you're looking at mobile searches, which is, let's face it, most searches now.
Right, how much worse?
On mobile, it jumps to 75%. 3/4 of searches end right there on the results page.
Wow. So that's the real crisis for traditional SEO then. You could be number one.
But if Google's AI overview or a rich snippet gives the answer directly, the user has zero reason to click your link. They got what they needed.
And the sources we looked at had a pretty stark example of this happening in the real world.
Yeah, what was that?
They mentioned a site top ranked for a really valuable commercial keyword, high intent, lots of money behind it.
Okay, solid position.
Their rank didn't budge, still number one. But then Google rolled out an AI overview for those specific search terms, and bam, their traffic dropped 31% in 1 month.
31%, just
Yeah.
like that. And the crucial thing there, as the analysis pointed out,
Yeah.
the traffic didn't just go to competitor number 2 or 3, it just disappeared,
Yeah.
vanished into the AI answer.
It was nullified, not stolen.
That's a chilling thought. How fast did that company even realize what was happening? Well, the sources suggested it was quick. Like within a single reporting cycle, they saw the numbers and understood the game had fundamentally changed for their core business drivers. The search mechanism itself was different.
That speed is definitely alarming. And it leads us to the bigger picture, the forecasts. Analysts like Gartner,
Yeah, Gartner. Their predictions move markets, shape big corporate strategies.
they put out what they called a conservative catastrophe forecast. That sounds ominous.
It does. They predict that by 2026, traditional search engine volume, the number of searches done the old way, will drop by 25%.
25%. And search marketing loses ground to AI, chatbots, virtual agents.
And if Gartner's calling that conservative, well, you have to wonder what the real number might be. They're usually pretty cautious.
So why conservative? What makes them think it could be even bigger?
It's the adoption rate, really, how fast people are actually using these new AI tools. It's been off the charts.
Right. This isn't some far-off future tech. It's happening now. ChatGPT has, 800 million weekly active users?
800 million weekly. And Perplexity AI, which is built specifically as an answer engine, is doing 780 million queries a month.
And Google's own AI overviews, the ones causing that zero-click issue, they're already showing up in about 18% of all searches.
And that number's climbing fast. They're expanding into more complex queries, transactional searches.
So if your business, your expertise, isn't being surfaced by these platforms.
You're already invisible to almost a fifth of the search market. And that fifth is the part that's growing fastest. It's a huge blind spot if you're not paying attention.
Okay, but here's where the story takes a really interesting turn. Because while you'd expect panic about losing all that traffic,
Right, less volume seems bad.
the businesses that got ahead of the curve, the ones who started implementing AEO early, They're apparently not sweating the volume dip. They found something else.
Something much more valuable, it turns out. Quality. A massive increase in the quality of the traffic they do get.
That's the paradox, isn't it? Less traffic, but better traffic. How much better?
Okay, get ready for this number. The data consistently shows that traffic coming from these AI citations converts at 9 times the rate of traditional organic search traffic.
9 times. 9x. That's huge. That changes everything about how you value traffic.
It absolutely transforms the ROI calculation. Suddenly, losing some low-intent volume doesn't seem so bad if the leads you are getting are 9 times more likely to convert.
Okay, but let's push on that a bit. Is that 9x universal? Does it apply equally if you're selling, I don't know, socks versus complex financial products? Or is it skewed?
That's a fair question. And the sources do suggest it's most pronounced in areas where trust and pre-qualification are really critical.
So high-stakes decisions, B2B software, finance, maybe complex health information.
Exactly. Places where the user needs confidence in the source. And the reason for that high conversion is actually pretty straightforward. A.E.O. basically acts as this perfect pre-qualification filter.
Walk us through that. How does the user journey make them so qualified by the time they do click?
Okay, think about the old way. User types a few keywords, skims page 1, clicks your link. They're mostly just browsing, right? Gathering info.
Top of the funnel stuff.
Now, the A.E.O. user, they've likely asked a more complex question to an AI. The AI has gone out, looked at various sources, synthesized a detailed answer. And in that answer, it's explicitly or implicitly highlighted your brand or your content as a key trusted source for that information.
Ah, I see. So the AI has already done the vetting. It's essentially recommended you as the authority.
Precisely. So when they finally click your link, maybe from a citation within the AI answer, they're not just starting their research, they're actively seeking more depth or validation, or maybe even to start a purchase process with the source the AI already pointed them to.
They're not tire kickers anymore. They're high-intent prospects.
Exactly right. The AI handled the initial awareness and consideration phases for them. And we saw real numbers backing this up in the research.
Yeah, give us an example.
There was a Fortune 500 financial services company. Within just 6 weeks of putting a proper A.E.O. strategy in place, they sourced 32%, nearly a third of their actual sales qualified leads directly from AI platforms.
6 weeks, 32% of sequels. That's incredibly fast market impact.
It shows how quickly you can tap into this high-intent audience. And it wasn't just them. Another example, a B2B SaaS company, they make project management tools.
Okay.
They saw a 25% jump in direct brand searches, people typing their actual company name into search engines just from being consistently mentioned in AI-generated lists of recommended software.
So the AI mentioned built immediate brand awareness and authority. People sought them out by name.
Yep. But maybe the most powerful case study was NerdWallet.
The personal finance site. What happened with them?
The analysis confirmed they grew their revenue by 35%.
35% growth. Wow.
Even though their overall website traffic decreased by 20%.
Less traffic, significantly more revenue. That perfectly illustrates the shift, doesn't it? It's not about raw clicks anymore.
It's about the value of the citation. Maximizing that authority signal beats raw volume.
Okay, so we've covered the what this A.E.O. thing and the why, the threat of invisibility versus this huge 9x conversion opportunity. Now let's get into the how. How do you actually do A.E.O.? Because the sources are clear. Old SEO tactics won't cut it.
Right. You can't just optimize for keywords and build links like before. A.E.O., or sometimes it's called generative engine optimization, GEO, requires different methods.
And the core difference seems to be what the AI engines consider authoritative. They're not just counting links, are they?
No, not at all. Their goal is different. They want to provide one verifiable answer, not just a list of options. So for anyone creating content, this means a fundamental change. You need to adopt what's called an answer-first structure.
Answer first, meaning?
Meaning your content needs to provide clear, direct answers to likely questions right up front, structured in a way the AI can easily parse and understand. We saw data where one site implemented this, and their citations in ChatGPT went up by 340% just from restructuring the content to be more direct.
So less meandering intro, less building up to the point.
Yeah.
More like, here's the answer, now here's the supporting detail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Designed for machine extraction, not just human reading flow. And this ties into new ways AI measures trust, often bundled under the term EET 2.0.
Right, Google's EEAT, expertise, experience, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. What's the 2.0 part? How is it different for AI?
Well, the AI models put even more weight on things like demonstrable firsthand experience. Can you prove you've actually done the thing you're talking about?
Okay.
And original data, unique insights,
hmm
things that can't just be scraped and regurgitated from other sites. The AI is looking for genuine, unique value.
So if you're writing about, say, choosing Medicare plans.
You can't just summarize the government website. You need to show real experience,
Yeah.
maybe unique case studies, maybe proprietary data, comparing plans in a way no one else has, something that screams real expertise here.
If it looks generic, the AI assumes it is generic and probably won't cite it as authoritative.
That's the core idea.
Huh.
And beyond the content itself, the technical foundation is now critical, like absolutely non-negotiable.
How so?
Poor technical performance, things slow loading times, layout shifts, stuff covered by core web vitals isn't just a minor ranking penalty anymore. The sources say it can make your site literally invisible to AI crawlers.
Invisible, just from being slow.
Yeah. If the AI can't crawl and process your content efficiently and reliably, it can't trust it, and therefore it won't cite it. It's like you don't even exist in its knowledge base.
That's quite a consequence for technical debt.
It really raises the stakes, and it also highlights why specific types of structured data or schema markup are so important now.
Right. Schema helps search engines understand context. How does it apply to AEO?
Specific, often more advanced, schema patterns are needed to signal information in a way that makes it easy for AI to grab and feature, especially in things like Google's AI overviews. The right markup can trigger visibility.
And you also mentioned making content GEO resilient. What does that mean?
It means structuring your information very clearly to avoid ambiguity. You want to prevent the AI from misinterpreting your meaning. Or, even worse, getting confused and hallucinating, making stuff up based on poorly structured content. Clear structure leads to accurate citation.
And crucially, this isn't a one-size-fits-all approach, is it? Optimizing for Google's AI is different from optimizing for Perplexity or ChatGPT.
Absolutely. The sources were very clear on this. Google AI overviews, for example, apparently look for 7 specific content elements to include something in an answer, and 3 of those 7 are completely new, things traditional SEO never focused on.
Wow.
And Perplexity, it values different things again, maybe more conversational content, different citation styles, so you really need a platform-specific strategy. Which brings us really to the urgency of all this, the timing. This isn't something you can put on the back burner for a year, because this feels very much like those early land grab moments in digital, you know, like getting the best domain names back in the late 90s.
Or figuring out SEO to get on page 1 in the mid-2000s.
Exactly. Or the scramble for social media presence around 2011. The window to establish yourself as an authority in these answer engines is open now, but it feels like it's going to be relatively short.
Okay, so what's the actual measurable benefit of acting now versus waiting, say, 6 months or a year?
The data we saw was pretty dramatic on this. Organizations that got serious about A.E.O. strategies early in 2025. They captured 3.4 times more traffic from answer engines than similar organizations that delayed.
3.4x, that's over 300% more visibility just for being an early mover.
A 330% advantage. And that kind of lead is incredibly hard for competitors to close later on.
It's not just a small edge, it's potentially market-defining in this new space.
And there's a compounding effect, too, because these AI models learn quickly. Most of the high-value citations happen within just 2 or 3 days of new authoritative content being published.
So, first mover gets the citation.
And once an AI model starts trusting and citing a particular source for a topic, it tends to stick with it. That source becomes the default answer. It builds momentum. Trying to displace that established authority later takes way more effort.
So get in early, become the trusted source, and let that authority compound.
That's the strategy. And the reason this is such a huge opportunity right now is because there's a massive gap between awareness and action.
What do you mean?
Well, surveys show something like 70% of marketing professionals say they believe A.E.O. will significantly impact their strategy. They see it coming.
Okay, so awareness is pretty high.
But only about 20% have actually started implementing any real A.E.O. changes.
Wow, so a 50 percentage point gap between knowing it's important and actually doing something about it.
Exactly. And that gap, that's where the competitive advantage lies right now. That's the window.
And this isn't just for tech companies, right? The sources mention a wide range.
Oh, absolutely. Think about how people search. They're asking AI, what are the best insurance options for my small business? Or how do I find a trustworthy real estate agent in my city? Or even complex B2B things like who are reliable commercial HVAC contractors near me? It cuts across almost every sector where research and trust are involved.
Yeah.
AEO is becoming fundamental visibility.
Yeah.
So if we try to boil all this down, what's the synthesis for you, the listener? Basically, traditional search traffic, it's going to decline. Gartner says 25% by 2026, maybe more. That's the reality.
A significant drop in volume.
But the traffic you can get from these AI sources, these answer engines, is potentially far, far more valuable, up to 9x the conversion rate.
Because it's pre-qualified high-intent traffic.
Exactly. So the whole strategic game has to shift. It's no longer just about chasing clicks and rankings. It's about engineering your content and authority to earn citations within the AI answers themselves.
From being a listing to being the cited source.
That's the core transformation.
And the source material really hammers this home. The difference between being a leader in this new landscape and desperately playing catch-up later, it comes down to decisions and actions taken right now during this relatively brief transition period.
The window is now.
So given everything we've discussed, the risk of becoming invisible on one hand and that huge 9x conversion reward on the other, here's the final thought we want to leave you with. Something to really mull over.
Okay.
Thinking about those specific AEO mechanics, things like EET 2.0, getting your schema markup right, adopting that answer-first content structure, what's the one single measurable action your organization could commit to testing or implementing, maybe even this week, to start moving from potentially invisible to becoming a cited authority in this new answer engine world?